Good day everyone. Welcome to our Mathematics 9 class. This is your teacher, Sir Bernardo Estrabo Jr. Our topic for today is in quarter 1, week 7, and it is about modeling, representing, and transforming quadratic functions. Note that the quadratic function is always in the form of x of y of x, or simply y equals ax squared plus bx plus c, where a is not equal to c. The graph of the function is a parabola. By looking at the graph at the right, there is the lowest point on the upward opening, and it is called the vertex. The vertical line through the vertex, which is a line of reflected symmetry, is called the axis, or they call it axis of symmetry. To understand it very easily, in a quadratic function, if a is greater than 0, or if the value of a is positive, the graph is a parabola that opens upward. As you can see the graph on the upper portion. However, if a is less than 0, or if a is negative values, the graph is a parabola that opens downward, as you can see in the portion below the portion part. So it's either upward or downward parabola if that is a quadratic function. How to apply quadratic functions to a real-world application? Yes, a roller coaster is an example of a parabola. Next, we have the Mario Brothers games, wherein Mario is jumping and it forms a parabola. Next is the banana. Again, it will form a parabola there. And the last is shooting the ball of the basketball, and through imagination you will have what we call again the parabola. In graphing quadratic functions, you must have first the given function in the form of equation. Then you will have a table. Let's say, for example, in this example, y equals negative 4x squared, forming a tabular form, the value of x and the y, connect the points, and then it will form a smooth curve using a graphing paper, and that is of course a parabola. The quadratic function in the standard form can be transformed into the form of y equals a quantity x negative x squared plus k, and it is called the vertex form. You have two methods in transforming it in vertex form. First is by completing the square, and the second by using the formula of the vertex. The formula of the vertex is s comma k, or you may also call it as x comma y, wherein the x or s is negative b over 2 times k. The formula of k or y equals 4ac minus b squared all over 4a. Recalling on how to use this completing the squares, just remember, we tackled that or we discussed that on quarter 1, week 1. That's one of the methods in factoring. So how will you use this completing the square? Converting the vertex form to a quadratic of a quadratic. Of course, you have you have here this step. Rewrite the problem with C on the outside of the parentheses. Number 2, complete the square. And number 3, factor and then simplify. So let's have the example here. Y equals x squared plus 6x negative 5. Of course, putting negative 5 outside the parentheses, and then think of the third term to make it a perfect square. How will you get the third term? You have the 6 or the b, you have to divide that by 2 and square that. The quotient is to be squared, and then that is now the third term. So let's write 6, your b, divided by 2 is 3, then 3 squared is 9. Okay, so you have now the third term, and that is 9. Of course, 9 outside will become negative 9 to make it 0. Okay, getting now the perfect square trinomial, you will have quantity x plus 3 times quantity x plus 3, or quantity x plus 3 squared. Then the number outside or the k will be negative 5, negative 9, that is negative 14. And so, the vertex form of a quadratic is y equals quantity x positive 3 squared minus 14. Let's try another example. Y equals x squared plus 4x plus 6. Okay, putting the letter C or the 6 outside the parentheses. Then think of the third term coming from b, and that is 4 divided by 2 is 2, then squared, and that is 4, and that is now your third term or letter C. Of course, you will put also the number outside, and this is the opposite of positive 4, and that is negative 4. Okay, getting now the perfect square trinomial, it becomes x plus 2 times x plus 2, or simply quantity x plus 2 squared. Then the k will be positive 6 minus 4 is positive 2. Therefore, the vertex form of a quadratic is y equals x plus 2 close parenthesis squared plus 2. And the last, y equals x squared negative 6x plus 3, putting 3 outside the parenthesis, then getting the third term or c, divide 6 by 2, that is 3, and negative 6 divided by 2 is 3, square negative 3, and that is positive 9. Then, put negative 9 outside the parenthesis to make it 0. And then, getting now the perfect square trinomial, you will have now x negative 3 times x negative 3, or simply by squaring binomial, quantity x negative 3 squared minus, of course, positive 3 minus 9 equals negative 6. Therefore, the vertex form of a quadratic now will be y equals quantity x negative 3 squared negative 6. I hope you get it. And by using the formula like the example, y equals x squared plus 12x plus 32, wherein your a is 1, your b is 12, and your c is 32. Using now the formula of x, or this time x, is negative b over 2a. Substituting now the value of b, and that is 12, and it becomes negative 12 over 2 times the value of a is 1, and that is 2, and so the quotient is negative 6. To get now the vertex, to get now the k, or simply y, instead of using the formula of the vertex of k, you may have the shortcut, and that is substituting the value of negative x as your x to the given function y equals x squared plus 12x plus 32. And so, y equals negative 6 squared plus 12 times the value of x is negative 6 plus 32. And to summarize that, the answer there is negative 4. As you can see, you have now the vertex, and the vertex is negative 6, negative 4. So, the quadratic function in vertex form is y equals quantity x plus 6, because if the h is negative 6, it becomes positive 6. Then close parenthesis squared, then negative 4. And so, that is how to change the standard form into the vertex form using the formula of x and x comma y, or x comma k. I hope you get it also. So the key points to remember: convert between standard and vertex form. Note that the standard form for a quadratic equation is y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. The vertex form for a quadratic equation is y equals a quantity x negative h squared plus k, where the vertex is x comma k, or x comma y. To find h, use h or x equals negative b all over 2 times a. To find k or y, find the f of h, or simply substitute the value of h to the functions given. Fill in a, s, and k to form the vertex form of the equation. I hope you learned something about modeling quadratic functions and transforming it in vertex form. So before I end, I have here a quotation of the day. You will never always be motivated, so you must learn to be disciplined. And so that's all for today. Thank you for listening. See you. Bye-bye.